Hey, and welcome to WorldPen's newest video, which is a Q&A segment
about multiple character point of view.
Because nothing else has as much potential to be confusing
than by having multiple characters narrating a story. Okay, let's actually be serious now. Because while a story with multiple points of view has the potential to be annoying and confusing, it doesn't have to be. But before we talk about anything else, let's go to the question.
How should I go about with multiple character perspectives in stories?
Okay, so for viewers who might not be familiar with the different kinds of third-person point of view, let me run through quickly what they are. Third-person limited is like a first-person story, and that's limited to the perspective of one of the characters throughout the whole story. Third-person omniscient is told from an omniscient narrator who always knows everything that's going on. Multiple third-person point of view, which is what's asked in this question, is a type of point of view like limited point of view in that each scene is limited to one character's perspective. However, each scene can be given from a different character's perspective so that you're constantly switching between characters. So, now that we've explained what it is, how do we go about using it? The first rule to follow is to never switch between characters without having a section or chapter break in between it. One of the biggest problems of doing a multiple POV book is for the reader to get confused about whose head they're in for each scene. So whenever you switch to POV, you want to preferably do it right after a chapter break. But if you must, at least put a section break in between. However, you want to be careful to make sure that the reader knows that the POV is switching. The second rule is to make the different POVs distinctive. One of the biggest problems of multiple POV books is that all the narrators all sound identical. Not only does this often lead to confusion about who's narrating, but it's also unrealistic. Two different people will think about the same situation two very different ways. So you'll want to consciously think about how each of the different characters will be thinking differently about the story, and then work that into the way that you write their perspective. Finally, the last rule is to avoid using multiple POV to engage in too many side plots. Currently, the story that I'm working on is a multiple POV story, and this is one of the challenges I've had to face while writing it. When you're telling a story with multiple characters, it's pretty easy to get sidetracked by one character's little side plot, so much that it hurts the overall story. So make sure that every scene and plot is actually leading toward the story's main plot, and that isn't just an extraneous side story. And those are my 3 tips. While it can be tricky to pull off and even can be a bit controversial, multiple POVs do have a lot of potential for your story. If you're interested in reading more, I have some links to some other helpful articles in the show notes below. Don't forget to leave us your questions in the comments for a future video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.